Hey guys, it's Ellen. Welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be what we eat in a week, what me and my husband eat in a week. And I wanted to do this video not only to give you meal inspiration, but to show you what only 2 people eat for dinner every week and how I kind of navigate cooking for 2. So I hope that if you're only a family of 2 at the moment, that you can gain inspiration from this. I know it can be challenging to only cook for 2, so yeah, I'm really excited to show you guys all our meals for the week. I cook most, if not all of our meals from scratch. It's really rare that I incorporate like frozen food or like already prepared food. We never have already prepared food. So it's like 99% from scratch. So that is how I do things. I'm really excited to show you guys everything we eat this week. But before we jump into the video, I want to show you guys my recipe cards that I created. So before we jump into the video, I want to show you guys my recipe cards that I created. If you have one of these or if you recognize this, this is from the Magnolia Home collection at Target, I think it's called. And it's a recipe box. And I love it because it's like wood and then like the brassy gold. I just thought it was really nice. But if you have this, you know that it only came with like a few recipe cards. This is, I'll show you what they look like. So this is what they look like. And here is the back. So it wasn't, I just dropped that. Oh well. It wasn't nearly enough to fill the whole entire box. So right here, I created my own. So this is what mine looks like. And the back. So I created these because there wasn't enough, and I have them for free on my blog. If you go to the right hand side, you can type in your email, sign up for my email list, and right when you sign up, you will get your downloadable template so you can have this exact recipe card and print it out for yourself. I have download instructions and also instructions on how to print it. So head over to my blog and get your own recipe card and solve the issue of not having enough for this little box here. And it doesn't just have to be for this box specifically, it can be for any little recipe card box holder that you might have. So I hope you head over to my blog and take advantage of that free download. And if you do, let me know, and let me know if you like the recipe cards. All right, without further ado, let's get into what we ate this week. So I am starting off this what we eat in a week on Monday. I know the week technically starts on Sunday, but there's like a hot debate about this. So what do you guys think? Does your week start on Sunday or Monday? I've come to look at it as Monday, just because Sunday is like still a weekend day. I don't know. So let me know what you guys think. But I just started some chicken in the crock pot there a few hours prior to this. Tonight we're having chicken pot pie, and I love this meal so much. It's so good, filled with vegetables and chicken and creamy goodness and biscuits. So it's definitely one of my favorite things to make. One of my biggest tips I can give you for cooking is to have a little dump container. You see mine right there next to me. Especially when you're cutting up vegetables, it's so nice to just throw the little scraps in there instead of constantly running over to the trash can. My trash can is in a cabinet and I always keep it closed because my dog will get into it. So having a little container up on the counter while I'm cutting vegetables is a game changer. I'm cooking this meal in a cast iron skillet because at the end I will be throwing all of this in the oven, and obviously cast iron is oven safe. I have enjoyed cooking with cast iron more recently because I have a lot of recipes that involve going into the oven, and they are just like super non-stick if you preheat them, so I really like it. Here I'm showing you the biscuits. I started these last night and they are sourdough biscuits. That's why they looked all bubbly and it looked kind of gross, to be honest. But once I add the rest of the ingredients and knead it all together, it'll look normal. So I'm just finishing those up. Whenever I'm cooking and I know that there's garlic in the recipe and I know that it needs to cook for a while, I add the garlic in later on because garlic does burn if it is in there for too long, and then it doesn't really taste the best. So that's why I added in the garlic after the vegetables had been sauteing for a little bit. And I'm adding in some garlic powder, onion powder, and I'm just salt and peppering everything as I go along and as it cooks more and more. Next, adding in some flour. This is just to thicken it up a little bit before I add in the bone broth. I am adding in fresh parsley. I love cooking with fresh herbs. It gives it a whole nother level of flavoring. While the vegetables are simmering, I'm taking out the chicken and shredding it up. I wanted to talk a little bit about how I cook for just me and my husband. And the way I go about doing it is I cook regular portioned meals as if you were cooking for like a family of 3 or 4. And the reason why I don't downsize anything I make is because we just have the leftovers for lunch. And it's usually my lunch for the whole rest of the week and his lunch. So it's worth it to me just to make the full size because we don't mind eating leftovers. They're just as good the next day. After everything's added in, I am topping it with the biscuits, and I love cooking the biscuits with the rest of the chicken pot pie because when it comes out of the oven, it's so like moist. I know people hate that word, but it's so creamy and good and chewy almost, but not like chewy as in a bad way. It's just so good. And here is the finished product. So yummy. On Tuesday, Danny was working late, so I just did something really simple for myself since he most likely wasn't going to be eating dinner tonight. If he comes home late, he just usually skips dinner. I don't know why, but that's just what he does. So I'm just doing tacos, so simple. I season the meat when it's raw and when it's cooked. I know you're not supposed to do this technically, but I do it and it makes it taste better. A few clips back, I showed you corn dip that I'm also having with this. I made the corn dip the other day and it actually went along really well with the tacos. So just a really quick and simple meal for just me. For dinner on Wednesday, we had steak and mashed potatoes. So I'm shredding the potatoes first and getting those chopped up to be boiled because they take a little bit longer than the steak does. Steak is a meal that we usually have in the fall and winter time, and that is because we are deer hunters. So this is a deer steak and we love it and we eat it up right away, and then we run out of it towards the summertime and we don't really buy beef steak because it's just not as good and it's expensive. So this is definitely a treat, but I'm just seasoning it up with some salt, pepper, and garlic powder. Normally do Montreal steak seasoning, but we are out, but this was just as good, I think. The way I do steak inside, if it's not being cooked on the grill, is I heat up a cast iron pan really hot with some olive oil, throw them in there, sear them well on each side, and then I'll finish them off in the oven. Before I finish them off in the oven, I throw a few slabs of butter in there with some garlic and rosemary, and then I baste them. It gives it such good flavor. I finish them off around 450 or 500, usually 450 so they don't get overdone, but you only have to put them in there for like 3 minutes. Once they're done, I cover it with foil, and then I last minute decided to make an onion because we didn't have any other side or vegetable to go with it, so I just sauteed this up really quickly. If you watched my last video where I did a shepherd's pie, you would have seen that I added way too much milk to the mashed potatoes and they were watery. So I was really extra careful to drain all the water off and add just a little bit of milk and cream as I went along. I also decided to add some Parmesan cheese to these and they were really good. But here I'm just showing you how the steak looks. This is perfectly done in my opinion. It is Thursday and we are having chili tonight. I wanted to make chili because it was a chilly day and it's probably the last times that I will make chili this winter because it's starting to get warmer out, and yeah, chili is just like a winter food when it's cold. So I took advantage of the cold day and made pot of chili. I add onion, and I added red pepper in this time. This is something I only do occasionally, but we did have it, so I added it in. Okay, at the beginning of this video, I was like, we don't have anything processed or whatnot. And number one, we used the tortillas yesterday that were obviously processed, not homemade. I had every intention of making those homemade, but I forgot to start them. And then tonight we're having cornbread and chili, and we're using Jiffy Mix. And I'm serious, you guys, I always make cornbread like homemade with cornmeal, but I had these in the pantry and I'm trying to use things up to clear it out, and these have been in here for a long time. And I haven't been making them because I've just been doing homemade cornbread, but we're doing this time. And yeah, so we're making an exception to the no processed food rule. I got this milk at Bueller's. It's a grocery store near me, but the reason I got it is because this milk is vat pasteurized, and I'm just learning about vat pasteurization, and it's where they cook it, or boil it rather, on a lower temperature than the ultra pasteurized, and because of that, it keeps in some of those good enzymes, good bacteria that is in raw milk. And it's like the lowest temperature milk that is sold legally. So we can't buy raw milk in Ohio. So I guess this is the next best thing. And I know this is a controversial topic, so I won't go too into it. But I just wanted to try out that milk, and the taste was kind of the same as regular 2% milk that's ultra pasteurized, but it was non-homogenized as well, which means that the cream and the milk separate, so it was a little bit tastier. I like non-homogenized milk. It's really good. But anyways, I just added in some kidney beans and tomato paste, tomato sauce, and tomatoes. And here's how the cornbread turned out. It was pretty good, but definitely not as good as homemade. And then just adding in some sour cream and cheese. Oh, and some jalapenos too, which was really good. Okay, for Saturday, we skipped Friday because it was Good Friday and we ate a meal at our church service, so I didn't have to cook on Friday. So fast forwarding to Saturday, I just made some chicken parmesan. This is super simple to make. I take 2 chicken breasts, cut them in half so they're like thinly sliced, and then it makes 4. So I just am seasoning these with salt, pepper, and garlic powder, and then dipping them in a mixture of Italian breadcrumbs and Parmesan cheese. And this is really good. When there's about 3 minutes left on the chicken, I take them out and cover them with some sauce. And I normally use mozzarella cheese to top them, but we didn't have any, so I used Munster cheese. It was definitely interesting and would have been better with mozzarella, but it was still pretty good. and the finished product. That is it for this week's of meals. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys got some inspiration out of this for meals for your week. I will see you guys in my next video.